Hey everyone, it's Glenn with the Cactus Atlas, and today we're going to be exploring some late afternoon destinations at Arches National Park. Okay, so what am I talking about late afternoon destinations? I'm on my way back to the Devil's Garden campground, which is way in the back of this park, and I was reading through the information they give you when you come in through the main gate, and there's several stops that are recommended for late afternoon, so I'm hitting them all in sequence, and I don't know how far I'm gonna get before the sun sets, but we're gonna stop and see some of these things that are recommended for this time of day. The first thing we're going to go see is something called Park Avenue, which is some really interesting sandstone formations, really dramatic, and I can already see it's lit up beautifully in this late afternoon sun. For some, it's just an overlook. For others, you can hike down in there, which we're going to do. There's a trail. Although you can get fantastic pictures from up here. All right, we're doing the initial descent. It's not far down, maybe 100 feet or something like that, I'd guess. And you're looking at the scenery the whole time. So I think you're gonna be mesmerized and not really thinking about this descent. I tell you what, everybody's hanging out there trying to get their picture moments, but just come down these stairs a little bit. I even think the perspective's a little nicer from down here in my personal opinion. The sign up there says that we're walking through a 150 million year old landscape, and you can see there's different layers of sandstone, each with their own name. If I remember correctly, the very top layer is called something like the Moab Tongue or something like that, and then there's slick rock is another term, and I forget the other, but there's geology here. That's all you need to know. Another thing I really like about this is that nobody's like coming down here. Everybody's staying at the top, so even at a really touristy busy park like this one, you can find spots to get some seclusion. And I want to stop and admire every inch of this landscape from different perspectives. Being down here, you really see how tall these things are, and this is where the Park Avenue name came from. People back in the day thought this looked like the New York City skyline, which I can buy. Wowie zowie. This is spectacular from down here. So if you thought Arches National Park was all about arches, it very much so has many arches. I think about 2,000 if I read correctly, but it's not all about arches. There's just fantastic landscapes. Unlike anything you've seen anywhere else probably, except Utah. Have I said it before? I think I have. Utah is my favorite state for natural beauty. By far. It's just so alien. I mean, it looks like structures that you could see on a Mars-like planet. And you can see there's a little bit of drama in the sky, so hopefully this doesn't put a damper on my plans for filming late afternoon stuff in late afternoon light. Over this direction, it's been pretty clear. But it is the summertime where storms frequent areas like this in the southwest, so you never can know. Way back in 2004, a much thinner and younger me, because that's almost 20 years ago, came down here into Arches for the first time and saw this. And although I would like to go back in time and coach that 20-something a year ago me, one thing we could both agree on today is this place is still one of my favorites in Arches National Park. I mean, seriously, you get that Monument Valley type of vibes from this stuff. It scales like right up in your face and like, you know, not quite skyscraper height, but very tall building height. Very tall building height. Okay, so I'm gonna probably head back so I can not risk the sun getting too much engulfed with this system that seems to be creeping up on me here. So I'm gonna get a few more pictures and then we'll vamonos. All right, so part of this jam is gonna be driving through one of the most scenic sections, I would say the most scenic section of this park, my favorite. So you're gonna get a combination from the cockpit and getting out to look at stuff. Now, as we kind of turn this way, you could see those storms gathered around the mountains off in the distance. And that is actually what we're gonna stop and see next. There's actually a viewpoint for these mountains. The La Salle Mountains. I think I got that right. You could see like really heavy downpours, very localized and very cool. There's an official spot for it right here, I believe. Just look for the brown signs, and yes, the La Salle Mountains. Check that out. This landscape is iconic summer southwest, looking out over what are known as the petrified sand dunes, which you got a very sunny landscape, and you turn this way up on those really tall mountains over there and you see a really intense rainstorm. And there are storm clouds gathering everywhere around here, not only over the La Salle Mountains, but this storm system behind me. It's been staying its distance, I think, though, so we might be lucky here. And I'll take some nice drama on the landscape any day, as long as it doesn't come over my head. And right at that pull-off also is a viewpoint of some amazing rock formations, very reminiscent of Monument Valley, I would say. They even named some of the features. The one there is called the Organ. There's another one behind it that we're gonna drive by called the Tower of Babel. A couple other ones, maybe hard to see, but the sheep and those three statues there, those three pillars are called the Gossips. I love that. We have not seen a single arch yet, have we? And we still have lots to see before we probably see our first arch on this trip. But who cares? This is mwah. All right, so now we're heading down towards the courthouse viewpoint, and we're starting to see some of those structures that we just saw from high up above, but now up close and personal. One that's amazing to me is the Tower of Babel, which is this huge structure behind the big one on the right. You can't really see the full thing yet, but we're gonna drive really close to these things. So this is maybe my favorite section of the park, like this, or my favorite drive in the park, I should say, like this very spot for the next mile or so. Just look at that. Wow. I ain't got the words. I ain't got the words. Okay, I think I see our viewpoint coming up here soon. There are many pull-offs we could stop and get so many photos. It's just there's so little time in life. So you gotta pick and choose. So I'm just going with the main spots that have signs tied to them. And up here is the Courthouse Towers viewpoint. And that's the Tower of Babel right in our face, right in front of us. And so far it's been very devoid of people. I think mainly because it's a Monday is my only guess. It is the peak season here, but I've been lucking out. This is awesome. Now this area is recommended for late afternoon. Some of it is in the sun though, but the rest of it is fantastic. Probably one of the main spectacles though here would be seeing this thing called the Organ up close and personal, so large that I can't get it all in frame anymore. As well as looking back towards Park Avenue. That's really the view that you want to look for at late afternoon. This is very representative though of my preferred landscape. I love these red rocks, sandstone. It's my number one thing, I would say, and I never can get enough of it. It's never old. It always just strikes a certain chord in me. I could spend an eternity out here, I think. Here's a really interesting thought. This thing is talking about the rise and fall of an arch, and it's saying if we look here, at those disconnected structures, the sheep and this other side, they think that maybe at one point there was an arch that went all the way across that. Now I know it's a silhouette here because the sun's right behind it, but it's huge if that was the case. And definitely not the best lighting for looking at this, but that is the gossips up close and personal. Just picture 3 gossipy friends. I also wanted to show you here that you can actually take the whole Park Avenue trail, the one that we started in the beginning and didn't complete. It actually connects here. So if you had like a family member or a friend and that didn't want to do the hike, it's only a mile. It wouldn't take you much time. It would be all downhill for the most part. So something to consider. And just look how beautiful that area looks from this side too. So I'm gonna do something that might seem silly, but I'm actually gonna backtrack and turn back on the main road and go back the way we came up to one stop just for the scenic view of the road. We're not gonna get out of the car. We're just gonna drive this way, and I think you'll see why. Oh my God. That is, I don't know what to even say. Okay, like I said, I'm not gonna drive too much further, but I mean, this is almost too perfect. I'm looking at like the screen for the camera facing forward here, just trying to anticipate what it's gonna look like on a big, nice 4K TV, and I'm salivating. I almost can't wait to get home to see that, but I also don't ever want to go back home, but I can't leave Amy and our cats alone. That would be wrong. But if it wasn't for them, I'm doing a U-turn in a very precarious spot. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh. That was not smart. Don't do that. There's a car coming. Okay. See the things I do for you guys. I put myself in danger, in harm's way. Okay, I started rolling again right where I turned off, the furthest point we had gone into the park so far. And this time I'm going the right way, back towards my campground, which we still have a long way to go and many stops in between. So, and I'm just enjoying this so much. I might actually have to spread this out over a couple days, in fact, because I need to go back to the campground and make dinner. I'm gonna make burgers tonight, but screw the burgers. Look at the Tower of Babel here in front of us on the right. And then on the left, that kind of solitary structure in the foreground would be the sheep. Looks like the clouds are now starting to catch up with us here. So far, this late afternoon lighting in this section has been, like, it exceeds all my expectations. I'm sure it's pretty any time of the day. And considering they have timed entry to this park, the way it works is I think you have to make a reservation for a certain time because they're trying to do a pilot to limit traffic in the park, which I really appreciate. So maybe that's why it's not as crowded as I had feared. But anyway, maybe you wouldn't be able to do this in the late afternoon and you do it in the early morning or something. Don't worry, it's gonna be amazing. I've been here early in the morning too, gonna be filming here early in the morning. You can't go wrong, no matter what. Now, I don't know what this gigantic structure is right in front of me. I'm sure it's got a name, but right now I'm just gonna call it large. I think I'm starting to see our next destination, which is going to be another pull-off. Maybe it's the next one or the one after that, but you can start to see in front of us what almost look like sand dunes, like very gentle rolling, soft, not soft because it's rock hard, it's sandstone, but soft in shape, petrified sand dunes, for real. Okay, I see a brown sign, and it is the Petrified Dune. So I've never stopped to see this one before. It's a really quick pull off with a sign, but it's worth a few snapshots, and the idea of what I think this is amazing. So that's why it's worth stopping, in my opinion. And these are indeed ancient sand dunes. I wasn't lying to you. What you're looking at here, according to the sign, is 200 million year old sand dunes, a whole sea of them. This back then would have been a very arid, dry desert of just sand dunes as far as the eye could see. And you still see like the humps. It's really weird and cool. So when was 200 million years ago in terms of like dinosaurs? I'm ignorant, I should know this, but was it the age of dinosaurs? It's kind of cool to think it was, but 200 million years ago would have been something else anyway. And another look at the La Salle Mountains enveloped in rain still. It's a beautiful sight. I'm thankful that I'm getting to witness that. It was the same thing yesterday too. Okay, and our next stop here on the tour is called Balanced Rock, and it'll be pretty obvious when I turn in here what we're looking for, I think. You tell me. I think it's that structure all the way on the furthest to the left, right? The one that's now in the center of the screen. I'm just kidding with you. And there you have it, folks, Balanced Rock. We're gonna walk closer to this thing, and out of all the balanced rocks I've seen in my life, this is at the top of the list. There's one at Chiricahua I really like too, so I can't say it's a fave, but it's a biggin'. I'll tell you that, it's a biggin'. You know, some people like to drink, some people like to fuss, but as for me, I like big rocks. Everybody here appears to be going that way, up the paved trail. I'm gonna be a rebel and go this way up the dirt trail. Okay, I admit it's a little lacking on that late afternoon sun that we were hoping for. Sun is back behind me, behind clouds, but I still dig it, especially with the drama in the air. If this thing decided to fall in a really cruel twist of fate for me, that would suck. But at least it would be over fast. The landscape out here, though, is quite spectacular. And I think we're peering into what's known as the Windows area, and I actually see one of the big arches out yonder. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that little tour of some of the stops they recommend to see in late afternoon here at Arches National Park. I do have to say, with the exception of this cloud cover and last stop, everything checked out. It gets the Cactus Atlas stamp of approval. You can consider it the truth. See you next time.